You also have the notes that are below it, right? You can start on the root to make it easier, but you also have there's your flat, there's your major 7, there's your major 6th, and there's your 5th. So now do the same thing. Now we got E. Right now.
Okay.
And you can start from your E too if you want you want that'd be minor. Flat 3. Back to let's do it on the next string now. So find your next string, your E on your next string. You might have to, you might not be able to get it all in there. So you could try descending it, you know. Okay, and then one good thing to do is when you're playing is to tell yourself what interval you're playing, and just slow it down and say, okay, so I have my root, right, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, right, and then, or as a reverse direction, so let's go back to the E, major 7, 6, and that's where we have to stop. Now let's go back to E. Now let's go in reverse. So now you have a flat 7, so flat 7, flat 6, right next to the 5, 4, and that would be flat. The 3's flat, right? So you want to try and tell yourself what intervals you're on. Okay. Now, when you're learning the scales, major, minor, any of them, modes, or whatever you're doing, what you want, there's a concept. It's called a tetrachord, and it's like basically you have 8 notes, including the octave. So you have the first 4 notes and the second 4 notes. So for instance, in that major scale, that's the first tetrachord, right? Now the advantage of this is 1 note per string is that the major scale is basically this, and it is always this, no matter what string you're on. It just is offset by the intervals on the guitar, and that's why the guitar is one of the most challenging instruments. Is because it's not. You could play the same saxophone player or piano. They have 1 C and one octave, and that's the only one. The guitar, in some cases, can have 4 on the same octave, right? And also, it's not evenly set up with a major 3rd here and a 4th, so that offsets things. But if you kind of learn that, if you learn 1 note per string, you're going to really be forcing yourself to learn intervals. Okay. So what you want to do, so let's play the first tetrachord, and that's 2, 3, 4, and then right. Now let's do that on the next string. I think you can get that high. Actually, you know what? Let's do it here on your E right here. So now, if you notice, the tetrachord E major is kind of a parallel shape, if that makes sense. You notice it's the same one?
Okay, then.
Especially, and now jump with your index up to there. It's the same thing. You see that?
Oh yeah, it is.
And that's interesting, right? So what you want to do is you want to be able to identify the scale on the guitar from the root going up, but also the root going down. So if we were here, right, you're on E, you want to, and another really good pivot point is the 5th. Like, always know where your 5th is. So if you're in the key of E, it's going to be a B, right? So you just have that. So for instance, that's a minor. That's the second half of a minor tetrachord. That's a major tetrachord. That's major. Try that real quick. So this is the 5th, right? So let's do major. Now for right. Now for minor, it goes right. Back to major. Right. So you want to really work on that, and the best way to do that is it's just to record the progression. I really like that, and they make this for Android or Mac. There's an app, they make them for phones too. It's called iReal Pro, and I really suggest you guys get this. Unfortunately, if you get it for a desktop, I don't think it's the same app, so you can't just get one. Sometimes you buy one for your computer and they're the same. So this is a really great app because it has the changes to like every jazz tune ever written, right? And basically, and there's forums that people post, and then you can download the charts. But one other thing you can do is you can just load in your you can load in your own progressions. And for instance, where did I do that? This one, minor, major. So there's this one. So you can just practice. I have it set real slow, so you can practice playing over that progression, right? That's your arpeggio with the seventh, right? I'll show you that. It's like there's a minor arpeggio. I'm jumping to the fifth, and I know, real quick, let's play these arpeggios for the, or that'd be that, and then it's the same one up on the fifth. So I forgot, right? It's the same thing, right? Let's do it on your let's do it on the E string, so we don't have to. You can see how the shape's like this to the major, right? And now go to the B and do the same thing. That's your major seventh. So one.
Okay, so it's always on the third.
Yeah. You notice that once you go jump to the fifth through the major seventh, that's a major third interval, and that's a major third interval. Okay. Now minor, you just flatten 3 and the 6. So you just go from.
Pattern for both of them.
Now check this out. Now what's really cool is that you'll play on one string, and I probably won't, if we were working together every week or every other week, we could have you do this, but you'll have to you'll want to expand on this. And once you play on one string is the quickest way to get your intervals down. And you can probably start to see why. Then the next thing is you could go between 2 strings. And you got for now, maybe focus to get them down, focus on the ones where they're fourths, so you could avoid this one just for now, just because it's going to be offset, and these ones will be the same. But when you're playing like E, for instance, your fifth is right here, right? So also, see that? See what I'm doing?
Yeah.
Now I did it between strings, and you can also see from just playing those E major. When I did E major, right? Now I'm combining those two. Minor. You want to try that?
Okay.
Now do minor. There you go. Right.
Okay.
But playing on one string is what is going to allow you to see those connections the quickest, if that makes sense.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, you can. So anyway, yeah, go ahead. You can try playing over this a little bit.